Daf Yomi, Tractate Shevuos, Daf Daled and Beis. The last line of the previous Amud was Rabbi Omer Einot Tzarach Rabbi Omer. The Braita continues. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says this proof is not necessary, as it says in the verse, and now we're on the top of 4b. V'ne'elam miklal diyada v'hu yada harei kan shtei yediot. Im kein ma tamlo ne'elam v'ne'elam v'chayev al kol ha'elem tuma v'al ha'elem mikdash. The verse says v'ne'elam, and it was concealed, which indicates by inference that initially he had been aware, and nevertheless the verse continues to state, and he was aware. Leviticus 5:3. It emerges that the verse refers here to two different periods of awareness, one before the transgression and one afterward. But if so, why must the verse state, and it was concealed, and it was concealed, mentioning it twice? It is in order to render one liable both for a violation due to a lapse of awareness of the fact he was ritually impure, and for a violation due to a lapse of awareness of the fact that the place he entered was actually the temple. From this Braita it is apparent that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi agrees with Rabbi Ishmael's opinion concerning which types of lapses of awareness render one liable to bring a sliding scale offering. Ashkachan b'yedios, disle, time in the Shevuos left the time in the The Gemara asks, we have found, with regard to cases of one's awareness of the defiling of the temple or its sacrificial foods, that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi has explained his own reasoning and it accords with the opinion of Rabbi Ishmael. With regard to oaths, where he has not explained his own reasoning, from where do we derive that he holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva? The Gemara answers it is based on logical reasoning. Lishnachina Ashkachan Yedios Tisavalak Rabbi Ishmael Bishvuos Savalak Rabbi Akiva Nalan Svarahu. The Gemara presents another formulation of the preceding comment. The Gemara asks, we have found an explicit statement of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi with regard to cases of one's awareness of the defiling of the temple or its sacrificial foods, indicating that he holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Ishmael with regard to oaths. From where do we derive that he holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva? The Gemara answers it is based on logical reasoning. Rabbi Akiva, my tamaka, Machayev Shavar the Darsh Rebuye Mute, Rabbi Nami Darsh Urubuye Ute. The Gemara explains the logical reasoning. What is the reason that Rabbi Akiva deems one liable for oaths pertaining to the past? The reason is that he expounds verses using the method of amplifications and restrictions. See 26a. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi also expounds verses using the method of amplifications and restrictions, and consequently he arrives at the same opinion as Rabbi Akiva. Titania Rabbi Omer B'chol poidim b'chol adam chutz min hashtaros v'Rabbanan amri b'chol poidim b'chol adam chutz mi'avod mishtaros kal goyis. The Gemara demonstrates its point, as it is taught in Braita. Yehuda Hanasi says that one can redeem a woman's firstborn son with any item worth 5 shekels except for promissory notes. And the rabbis say that one can redeem a woman's firstborn son with any item worth 5 shekels except for Canaanite slaves, promissory notes, and land. My time in Rebbe, Darish Rebute Umeute, Rebuye Umute, Ufiduyok mi ben chodesh, Riba, Be'erkach Kesach Meshish Kolim Miyot, Tivde Chazav Riba. The Gemara explains what is the reasoning for Yehuda Hanasi, expounds verses using the method of amplifications and restrictions. Accordingly, he expounds the verse, and its redemption from 1 month shall you redeem according to the valuation of 5 silver shekels by the sacred shekel, Numbers 18:16, as follows concerning the phrase and its redemption from 1 month, since it does not specify that only certain items can be used for the redemption. The verse amplified the category of items that can be used to redeem the firstborn, intimating that many different items can be used. Then, with the phrase, according to the valuation of 5 silver shekels, the verse restricted the category to items that are similar to silver shekels. Then, with the term, shall you redeem, the verse again amplified the category. Riba, umiyat riba, riba kol, my riba kol mire, my miyat shtarois. According to the hermeneutical principle that when a verse amplified and then restricted and then amplified, it amplified the relevant category to include everything except for the specific matter excluded in the restriction. The Gemara elaborates what is included by the fact that it amplified almost everything, and what is excluded by the fact it restricted. It restricted only promissory notes, which are the most fundamentally dissimilar to silver shekels. V'Rabbanan dashi klali uprate ufiduyavim ben chodesh klal ve'elchich hakesef chameshes shekolim prat tivde chazar v'chalal. The Gemara explains the reasoning of the rabbis, and the rabbis expound verses through the method of generalizations and details. Klal or prat. Accordingly, they expound the verse as follows. The phrase and its redemption from 1 month is a generalization which suggests that many different items can be used to redeem the firstborn. And then the phrase, according to the valuation of 5 silver shekels, is a detail which suggests that only items that are similar to silver shekels can be used. Then, with the term, shall you redeem, the verse again makes a generalization. Klal prat uklal, iatadan el ke'ena prat, ma haprat miforash, davar hametaltin beguf hamamoin, av kol davar metalin beguf hamamoin, yatsu karkois, shein metal talim, יצבודי בשוק של קרקויס יוסושטורויס אף פי שמטלטל in a goof moment. Based on this exegetical method, whenever a verse has a generalization and then a detail and then a generalization, the principle is that you may deduce that the verse is referring only to items similar to the detail. In this case, just as the detail, meaning silver shekels, is explicitly something that is movable and has intrinsic monetary value, so too anything that is movable and has intrinsic monetary value can be used. This excludes land, which is not movable property. It excludes Canaanite slaves, who are halakhically compared to land, and it excludes promissory notes because even though they are movable property, they do not have intrinsic monetary value. Ravina said to a Maimar, does Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi really expound verses through the method of amplifications and restrictions? But doesn't Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi expound verses through the method of generalizations and details? Titania, Martzea, Ainli Ela Martzea, Minayin L'Rabo Yisasol V'Sirho, Hamachat Veha Makdeach, Veha Machtev, Tameloimao, Velokachto, Kol Dor Shenilkach Miyad, Divrei Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Omer, Martzea, Martzea Miuchad, Shel Mateches, Av Kol Shel Mateches. This is, as it is taught in a Braita, the Torah provides the process by which a Hebrew slave who has already completed his 6 years of servitude may continue on as a slave of his master. And you shall take the awl and put it through his ear and in the door. Deuteronomy 15:17. From this verse I've derived only that an all can be used. From where do I know to include the thorn of a palm, ouch, hasol, or a thorn, a needle, a gimlet, and a stylus for writing on wax as valid tools for piercing his ear? The verse states, and you shall take, which indicates that anything that can be taken by hand is a valid tool. This is the statement of Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says, not all these items can be used. Rather, since the verse specifies an all, martzea, I just noticed that martzea are the same letters as mitzora. What if it was a connection? Anyway, in all are only items similar to an all can be used, just as an all is distinct. And an all is the same letters as law. An all is distinct in that it is fashioned of metal, so to anything fashioned of metal can be used. And we say with regard to this dispute, about what do they disagree? Rabbi Yehuda honestly expounds verses using the method of generalizations and details, and Rabbi Yossi, son of Yehuda, expounds verses to be continued.